Okay, so you are going to be writing this is a kind of a fun writing assignment. Kids will really enjoy it, but what you're doing this week is you're writing an ending or another part, or let's say part two to an already written story. So it's kind of fun. So you will be entering your assignment into Blackboard again. So you can open it, remember, as many times as you want, and remember that you can just, when you do start typing, hit Save All Answers, and then when you are completely done, kids are forgetting to hit Save and Submit, because I cannot see them unless you hit Save and Submit. All right, so you are working on writing a story. So here is your story, and you've actually read this one before, but you can go ahead and read the story again. And so let's see, let's do that. Let's see on page. Okay, so once you read your story, you will be writing a part two. So let's go ahead and first go over the parts of a story. And let's go ahead and do this. So a story, you will be using a graphic organizer or what we call an outline. So the outline is going to look like this. So a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is a little bit different than a telling paragraph that you've been working on so far. This is a story. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. So let's take a look at someone's planning. And it kind of looks a little bit different, but this is how this person did it. You can draw pictures, but I want you to write words as well. And so she just wrote a few words here. You don't have to write the complete beginning, because remember, an outline is for you. However, I do want you to fill it out. So we have so what you'll do is you'll read your story, and then you're going to think about, okay, well, what could happen next? What would be like a chapter 2 to a story? And so then you would kind of write out what happens in your beginning, and you can jot a few words down, and then a middle. You can tell here some things that happened in the middle of this story. Holding Fraser, sat down, left gate open, puppies run, help me, ran, found 3, look for Fraser, worried, playing in the yard. A lot of times in the middle of a story, there is a problem, okay? A problem to the story, the plot. And the end is where that problem gets solved. So here it looks like everyone's smiling and happy. Mrs. Croft happy, called mom and said she's responsible. So this is kind of the way that this person filled it out, and yours is going to look like that. It gives you a little bit more space to write, and I would jot down some things that would happen at the beginning, you think, and then in the middle and the end. You a lot of times want to think about what kind of problem that your characters are going to be solving. So in this story, if you recall, new kid in school, Jaden was his name, and he moved and didn't have any friends on the playground. So that is the problem to that story. The beginning, a lot of times, has the characters and the setting. Setting is where the story takes place. The middle, it has the problem and how the events that happen to get that problem solved. And the end is how that problem got solved. And at the end, remember, Jaden had asked if someone would play, and it turned out good for him. But you are going to think about something else that happens to Jaden. Could be, it could be anything. It could be another, maybe he wants to try out for the school band, or because he just moved, or maybe his new friend that he made in the story, they they tried, I don't know, maybe they tried to find their lost cat, or their cat gets stuck up in a tree and they have to work together to get it down. I don't know. You guys come up with such creative ideas and I can't wait to hear them. So here is a checklist I have, if I can find it. I have a checklist in Blackboard as well that you can print out and check off the things that you want in a story. So here's your planning, and I've gone over that. So here's some organizational things for your story. Use transition words, time order words. Remember the next, last. Puts your events in order. Story has a clear beginning. A good beginning tells what narrative is about. It includes who, what, when, where, and why. The story has a clear middle, and we've gone over that. Helps us view or picture your event and what happened. It has usually a problem in the story. And the story has an ending. A good ending helps your reader remember the story. A lot of times this is where the problem gets solved. Your content or your story has events, a short sequence of events. So you're retelling what happens. Now, in the story, a lot of times there's a dialogue, and that's what people say. Kick it to me, someone hollered. So this is called dialogue. It's where people are talking within a story. And a lot of times stories take place with characters talking to each other. And that's one way. I know a lot of my students last year, you used it. And you use quotation. Here's quotation marks right here. And the words inside the quotation is exactly what the characters are saying. You can take a look at this, writing a dialogue, and he uses quotation marks. He uses quotation marks correctly. We worked a little bit on this in second grade, but if you wanted to use quotation marks in your story, you can definitely do that. Use quotation marks to show a character's exact words. So, where's the dog? Asked Jacob. There's a lot of rules to using quotation marks, and we will be going over those later on, but that is definitely one way to tell a story. So whatever maybe you're wanting to talk about, Jaden, you want him to have Jaden and his friend talking, you can use quotation marks as stated here. And that is a very fun way to tell a story. Let's take a look at another story. And this one has clearly is stated with the beginning, a middle, and an end. And I'm going to go ahead and read this story. This story is not the story you're going to write an ending to. The story is in Blackboard. So here we can see clearly our beginning. So before I even turned the corner, it's called A Lot of Work. That's the title. Before I even turned the corner, I could hear the puppies barking. I guess it wasn't really barking. It sounded more like yipping and whining and squealing. I've been walking past Mrs. Croft's place every day since the puppies were born. There were 2 dark brown puppies, another with spots, and a 4th puppy with brown fur and a white tail and white paws. That 4th puppy always looked confused and lost. Just as I came to Mrs. Croft's fence, I saw someone pick up the white-tailed puppy and give him a hug. My heart dropped. Last night at dinner, I had pleaded with Mom to let me have Fraser. Fraser is what I had already named that puppy. I think about it, she said. I don't know if you can be responsible and take care of a new puppy. They take care of work, you know. I had to find a way to show that I was responsible. I looked again at the white-tailed puppy as he ran around the yard. The visitor had set him down to play with the others. She then walked toward the gate and said goodbye to Mrs. Croft. So this is all the beginning. And it has the characters. It has who, what, when, where, and why in it. And that is just taken from this. A lot of it. Okay? And that's all the beginning just from these 4 short words. If you want to write more in your outline, you definitely can. Let's go ahead and read the middle to the story. All right here. This is all the middle. As the visitor headed down the street, I realized that she had not secured the gate. Behind her ran 4 tiny puppies. Oh no! Then Mrs. Croft saw what I saw. She screamed and started calling for the puppies to come back. They would not listen. We looked at each other. Help me, she pleaded. I darted down the sidewalk and quickly grabbed the 2 brown puppies who were exploring some freshly planted flowers. I handed them to Mrs. Croft. By then, Visitor was also trying to help. She had cornered the spotted puppy and was carrying him back to the yard. Fraser, however, was missing. I looked up and down the street. No Fraser. I walked around all the blocks near the Mrs. Croft house and asked others to help. Still no Fraser. It was getting late, so I used Mrs. Croft's phone to call home. When I explained the problem, my mom said I could stay a while longer. Mrs. Croft, I am sorry we haven't found him, I said. Let's try one more time. She headed back down to the same place we had last seen Fraser. I decided to check behind the house. All right, so that is all of the middle. There's a big problem. There's puppies lost, and it states that right here. Holding Fraser, sat down, left gate open, puppies ran, help me. So that's all the middle. The problem has not been solved yet, and that will be at the end. Let's finish and see what happens. This is a kind of a short ending, and that's completely fine. Mrs. Croft, I yelled, he's here with the others. We both laughed and we counted all 4 puppies playing in the yard. When I left, I made sure the gate was locked. Then I started thinking about how I would convince my mom that I really could be responsible. All right, so that was the ending. The problem was solved. So I wanted to see a clear beginning, middle, and end to your story. How long does it need to be? It's going to vary from person to person. But have fun with it. Be creative. Fill out your outline. And then you can type it into Blackboard and make sure you hit submit. And we'll see how you guys do. And if I like them enough, we'll share them on Blackboard, because I know stories are a lot of fun. And it's good to share your work with other students to see their great ideas. All right, have fun with it, and we'll talk to you later.